Autochthon, one sprung from the land he inhabits. Indigenous, born or originating in a particular region or country. Original, belonging or pertaining to the origin or beginning of something, or to a thing at its beginning, as the original state of man, the original binding of a book, the original piece of an article. I'm gonna go right back forward to that. As the original state of man. Original. Aboriginal, belonging to aborigines, also existing from the beginning. Original, primitive, native. Indigenous, an original inhabitant, a native. I'm receiving this through my phone, bear with me. Native, belonging to a person or thing by birth or virtue. Now down here, we're just going to get into it. Also occurring in nature, pure and uncombined as metals, etc. As native copper, found in nature rather than produced artificially. As a mineral substance, also born in a particular place or country as Native American citizens, right? So what a native is a person born in bondage, one born a serf or a slave. So the noun native is the person that's born in bondage. The adjective native is description of that individual being born in bondage. Serf, slave, slave. Slave. Where are we? A word first applied to captives of Slavic origin in southeastern Europe. 1. A human being who is owned by and absolutely subject to another human being as by capture, purchase, or birth. Bond, servant, divested of all freedom and personal rights. A person who is completely dominated by some influence. Origin, a Slav. Many Slavs having been reduced to slavery by Germanic conquerors. One who is the property of and wholly subject to another. A bond servant. Hence, a submissive or devoted follower. One entirely under the domination of some influence. Slave trade. Traffic in slaves, specifically the former transportation of African Negroes to America for sale as slaves. Black. Black Negro. Person, Negro. That's all you really need to know. So, Negro, black, black, Negro. The first Negro slaves were brought to Jamestown in Virginia by a Dutch ship. That's what they want you to believe. But just know that Negro and black and slaves are synonymous. Black. Adjective. I'm just going to get to what's important. 6. Negro. Negro, black. Black adjective, synonymous with Negro. Not a person, place, or a thing. Negro. We got Negro as a noun here. Negro, black. Black person, right? So Negro is a noun, but black is an adjective, right? So Negro is a black person, but black and Negro legally on contract are chattel, which is human cargo. So a Negro is chattel property, also a slave, human cargo, livestock. Chattel, property, also a movable possession, any article of property other than real estate or a freehold, sometimes a slave. An article of personal or movable property as distinguished from real property, furniture, automobiles, livestock, farm equipment, etc., are chattels. A slave, chattel. Cattle, property, chattel. Also livestock. Cattle, property, goods, stock. Where am I? Farm animals, collectively livestock, domesticated bovine animals, collectively cows, bulls, steer, or oxen. The term is usually not applied to calves or heifers. 3. People in the mass. Contemptuous term. Cattle. Vaccine, vaccinus, of or from cows. Vaccine, virus, of pertaining to or derived from cows, also pertaining to vaccinia or to vaccination. The virus of a cowpox obtained from the vesicles of an infected cow or person and used in vaccination, hence the modified virus of any of various other diseases used for preventive inoculation by putting a virus in your body. H-Res 194 in the House of Representatives, U.S., July 29, 2008, whereas millions of Africans and their descendants were enslaved in the United States and the 13 American colonies from 1619 through 1865, whereas slavery in America resembled no other form of involuntary servitude known in history, as Africans were captured and sold at auction like inanimate objects or animals, whereas Africans forced into slavery were brutalized, humiliated, dehumanized, and subjugated to the indignity of being stripped of their names and heritage, right? So they're being stripped of their names and they're being called Africans, which is a legal slave title, right? Nom de guerre, captured. Black, African, African American, they're letting you know that they stripped you of your original names and heritage and gave you legal titles which have contracts attached to it because they're brands of the United States Corporation. Title 28, United States Code, Section 3002, Paragraph 15A. This is a corporation, this is business. The United States of America, the corporation, is a trading company trading human chattel, cattle, cargo.
First modern Britons had dark to black skin, Cheddar Man DNA analysis reveals. The fossil, known as Cheddar Man, was unearthed more than a century ago in Goff's Cave in Somerset. Intense speculation has built up around Cheddar Man's origins and appearance because he lived shortly after the first settlers crossed from continental Europe to Britain at the end of the last ice age. People of white British ancestry alive today are descendants of this population. First modern Britons had dark to black skin. People of white British ancestry alive today are descendants of this population. Dark to black skin. The data on race were derived from answers to the question on race that was asked of individuals in the United States. The Census Bureau collects racial data in accordance with guidelines provided by the U.S. Office of Management and Budget, OMB, and these data are based on self-identification.
All right. This is the Integrated Post-Secondary Education Data System website, definitions for new race and ethnicity. And what I want to share, well, let's just receive this. Categories developed in 1997 by the Office of Management and Budget that are used to describe groups to which individuals belong, identify with, or belong in the eyes of the community. The categories do not denote scientific definition of anthropological origins. The designations are used to categorize United States citizens, resident aliens, and other eligible non-citizens. Individuals are asked to first designate ethnicity as, excuse me. What I wanted to share is the categories are the categories, the definitions. Just right quick. American Indian or Alaskan Native, a person having origins in any of the original people. Asian, a person having origins in any of the original people. I'm gonna skip Black, African American. Native, Hawaiian, or other Pacific Islander, a person having origins in any of the original people. White, a person having origins in any of the original people. Now, let's go back to Black. A person having origins in any of the Black racial groups of Africa.
The second principle put down by Chief Justice Taney in the Dred Scott decision was that blacks cannot be citizens of the United States. In a sense, Dred Scott can't even sue because he's not an American. This is one of the best examples of this notion of blacks as aliens. Even though he's born here and everything, he is not an American. The American family, as Taney says, is for white people. And in the most famous sentence in that decision, he says, a black man has no rights which a white man is bound to respect.
One of my friends, she got mad at me. Oh my God, Tiffany, how can you do this? Run around here telling people you a white woman. You turning your back on our people. I said, honey, I am not turning my back on anybody. If anything, I figured out the key to the matrix, bitch. Check a different box.
So nobody that's original on the planet has pale skin. Pale skin is a mutation. This is science. This is high science. So, hey, don't hate the player, hate the game. So for those of you that want to change your status from black to white, get on our Indigenous Standing Process webinar. You can send an email to atsikataym@gmail.com. That is ATSIKHATAYM@gmail.com. If you're having problems, call me directly. My phone number is 1-587-712-0639, or you can also call 1-587-501-7262. Speak with the head of our administration, Auset, Tauwer, and you'll get put on the list, and you can get your race and ethnicity changed, because black has no standing on the planet. All the black law students know this, all the black judges know this, all the judges know this, all the legal firms know this, all the law enforcement agencies know this, all the anthropologicals know this, all the universities know this, they all know this, all the elites know this. Get white and get right, and it is our right to be white and indigenous. Abu Gadur, Abu Gadur, Abu Gadur. White power, white power, white power.